Guy Code with Rena Osware.
Welcome to another episode of The Guy Code. I am Rena Osware. Now, on this episode, we're going to be talking about what is behind female intuition and this quote unquote sixth sense. It's a very interesting topic, actually. I've been seeing a lot about it on the internet as far as other coaches talking about what is this intuition. Women say they always trust your instincts, your intuition, female intuition. They hardly ever talk about, actually, I don't think even male intuition ever exists, but they always talk about female intuition, trust your instincts. You know, one of those things that you see in forums where women said, I should have trusted my first instinct. I should have trusted my first intuition. I was right all along. He was this, and this was going to happen. Or I trusted my instinct, my intuition, and I avoided this happening to me. So you hear a lot of women talking about all these things about their instinct, their intuition, and you actually become quite curious of what is this intuition, this sixth sense that women got that somehow men didn't get. Or maybe we have it in a different way. Do we have that in a different way, or is it just entirely or exclusively to women? Now, okay, so if you haven't heard about female intuition, it's one of these things that actually, basically, to explain to you, it's that women are more in tune with the non-verbal environment. That's basically it, okay? That female intuition just shows that and is rooted in the belief, or somehow actually notice there's a scientific fact that women are more in tune with the non-verbal environment, okay? And since they're more in tune with this non-verbal environment, they are more likely to interpret successfully certain social cues and certain social interactions, things that most men will not be able to pick up. So that's why they say they have this sixth sense to notice that certain situations aren't right, certain things aren't adding up, and probably they don't like a person because, something about them that they just don't feel is not right, or their energy is not right. Because especially if you had, grew up with a mom who is kind of overprotective, she could say, don't hang out with so and so anymore because I just feel like something about him isn't right, or I just don't like something about him. I just feel he's not good for you, or he's not good company, blah blah blah. So since women are believed, and actually there's a study, I'll get into it, that they are more in tune and are better at interpreting the non-verbal environment. This is where this intuition kicks in. And I just want to share a couple of things for you guys as far as this intuition and this whole instinct thing. So number one is that female intuition comes from the female conscious, or the female nature of receptivity. They are very good at receiving certain everything in the moment, receiving the full experience in the moment. I had mentioned it in a previous episode, that's about female nature and female logic, is that female logic and consciousness is rooted in receptivity. They're very receptive, receiving the full everything experience in the moment. They take in everything and seek to get into the moment completely. So that's why when you're talking to them, or when you're engaging with a female, she's not just listening to what you're saying. She's noticing your body language. She's noticing your facial expression, your mood, how you say, your tonality, your voice inflection. All this, she's taking it in. She's taking in the full experience of this engagement. Unlike men who are mostly just listening to maybe a few facts and few numbers and few, important information. So since they are more inclined into receptivity, the feminine is very, very receptive. They'll be able to pick pick up certain things, and that's why their intuition is very, much more successful into interpreting social interaction and social cues. That's number one. That since they are very good at interpreting and receiving and receptive to everything in the environment, they will be able to pick out certain nitty-bitties that will definitely go over men's heads. Number two is that this female intuition and instinct is based on past experience. If they dealt with a person who was, probably a crook or probably lacked integrity, and he acted in a certain way, and she finds another man who has similar habits, this will definitely trigger her intuition and her instinct to say, wait a minute, I see a similarity here. This guy act like this, and remember that very crook guy, maybe a bad guy or whatever, maybe a criminal guy who lacked integrity, had this exact same habit. So it's a red flag. It seems that since he was a criminal and a bad guy and lacked integrity, you will also be categorized as someone who lacks integrity based on certain, things you're doing and these habits that you're portraying. So that's number two. It is based on the experience. So if they met someone who was a crook, or even on the good side, maybe she met someone who was very charming, very friendly, this person will remind them of someone who was also very charming and good to them. So there's some who actually said that in a couple of situations where you hear the lady saying that, he reminded me of my dad, he reminded me of my uncle, and she ended up marrying the person because the man kind of projected the same characteristics that the father had, of maybe being very protective, being a very diligent person, being a very faithful person. And since she had this deep connection with the father and with these attributes that he was portraying, she will have this deep connection with, probably her future husband, because he shows this kind of attributes as well, and it is seen favorably to her. So that's number two. Number three is that this female intuition, when in person, during in-person interaction, it is based on body language and tonality. Okay, so guys, it's not just about what you say, it's how you say it. It's very, very, very important. That's why women want to be seduced, want to have this flirtatious. She knows your intentions, yes, but she wants you to creatively and phrase it in a way, and put it in a way that is very smooth and very seductive, because they know, of course, most men just want a few couple things from her, but how you approach it, how you deal with it, is what will make her get more attracted to you. And just wanted to mention a certain survey, actually a research, Harvard research developed a test called PONS, which is Profile of Non-Verbal Sensitivity. And this research and test showed that women are much better at interpreting non-verbal cues than men, right? In fact, even in a book called Working with Emotional Intelligence, this is called The Politics of Empathy. You see that? So it's actually proven that most women, during these in-person interactions, in-person, dealings, she will not just listen to what you have to say, right? She will be evaluating also your mood, your facial expression, your body language. And this actually happens very subconsciously to her. Men can actually do it, yes, but actually from this research that I've just mentioned, it shows that women are much better at interpreting these things. For most men, it might fly over our heads and say, oh yeah, in fact he was like that, it showed that way, I never knew, because we don't really look for such stuff. But women since they want the full experience of the moment, they will evaluate and pick up on these certain things. So female intuition, it is activated through body language and tonality when in-person interactions. How you say it, how your body language is, she might just know, you seem like, you're not sure of what you're saying. You seem like you're lying from how your tone is doing, how your body language is. You seem like there's something off about you. And this is all about the kind of body language she's picking up for you in a very, very high sensitivity. Number 4, lastly, is that women's intuition is an adaptation for survival. Okay. And I had a certain doctor, academic doctor, say that it comes from the socially subordinate group seeking to recognize the feelings of a group in power so that they know how to act. Since women are the socially seen as the socially subordinate group compared to men, the socially subordinate group will actually look to recognize the feelings of the group in power so that they know how to react. Because if you're subordinate and you see the powerful people might are in a bad mood and want to get at each other, the subordinates are the ones who most likely suffer the most. So that is why women are more inclined to better recognize these feelings, better recognize and interpret these social cues, and get to know what is really at the bottom and what is really in the hearts of these other person, whether it's a man or a woman. And that's why, just bring it into probably in a dating context, is that, have you ever been on a date, guys, and you're talking to this lady, and just in the middle of the conversation she just goes quiet and she just looks at you? Have you been that point? She just goes quiet and looks at you for a few seconds. For most guys, and I struggled with it as well, is that you're not very comfortable with silence, so you want to fill the silence and keep on talking. But actually in that moment, she's just actually trying to digest what you're saying and see exactly, okay, he said a lot right now, let me just take some time to digest it and just evaluate not just what he's saying but his body language, how he's saying it, his tonality, his pitch. Is he really saying the truth? How girls say that that long pause, just listening to you, just trying to filter, is he really saying the truth or is he just lying this whole time? So guys, I would really encourage you guys, when you find yourself in such a situation where you order date with a lady and she just out of nowhere just keeps quiet and just looking at you, be comfortable with the silence. There's nothing wrong with it. A few seconds of silence, moments of silence won't hurt anybody. Just look her right in the eye and stay silent. Maybe you're eating, just take a bite and continue chewing, because she's just digesting the whole thing of what you told her. So these are a couple of things I just want to share with you guys. I believe we are in a better position to understand what this female intuition is, female instinct. So next time you hear it, you have a little more knowledge about it. If you want more in-depth knowledge about it, I really appreciate your feedback on Twitter at GuyCodeKenya, and keep sending the feedback. Keep growing the podcast platform. We are self-developing all together, and until next time, we shall talk soon, guys.